Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Alpha's Orphan Daughter. Episode 3. Chapter 19. Paxton's POV. I am almost shaking in fury. First, that Jackson makes us wait over 10 minutes to show up like we aren't important. Second, that guard is making it his goal in life to make me look like an crazy. I knew he had left the gate for a few minutes, but I thought he had gone to notify Jackson that we were there. It looked like he was calling my bluff and had called the council himself to get information about who I had brought here. Why would he even be told that she was an assistant? He didn't even have any rank. He had no business going behind me to get information. How dare he continue to disrespect me? We had tried to enter Blackadder with Michaela, but all three of us were denied entry. I don't know how Jackson would dare to keep a council member out of his pack for this long. They were gentle with her, but it was like this gate guard was intent on disrespecting me. The real surprise came when he pushed me back outside the gate. I didn't know how he managed to do that at all. No gate guard should have been able to force me out. I am an alpha, I should be a great deal stronger than he is, yet he acted like it was nothing to force me out of Blackadder. I am still stunned that he was able to do it. When the betas showed up, I was surprised that they both nodded at him in acknowledgement. Why should they? Was he not a gate guard? A warrior? I am starting to rethink who he is now. No matter how strong he was, there was no way for a regular warrior to force me back out of the pack. I refuse to believe it. He has to have some rank here. The fact that he spoke quietly to the betas showed me that he had to be ranked. Some reason for them to give him respect, instead of ignoring him. Why else would they confer with him before coming over to speak to us? I refuse to let the upper hand go. I had charmed this lady from the council all the way here. I even cried a little to show how worried I was about the 3 she-wolves being held captive in Blackadder. My only concern was that she seemed more than excited to come here to Blackadder with us. Once Jackson arrived, I could see that she was totally enamored of him. She could have him as long as we got Kara and her sisters back. I didn't want to waste any time here over this, but it was clear that these morons were not going to allow us to enter. Once the 2 newcomers got to the gate, they all lined up next to each other. At that moment, it hit me that these guys were really big. I was less inclined to try to force our way into their pack now. I changed my tactics because I already knew that just using my title would not work. I would have to lean into acting that they were disrespecting the council by refusing entry. She represents the council. You are required to allow her immediate entry, I told them. She nodded in agreement with me. She couldn't wait to approach Jackson. We did try to allow her immediate entry. You and your men tried to allow yourself entry along with her. I can't help it if she had to exit with you. We have tried this several times. You need to stop trying to assign blame, Alpha Paxton. You and your men are the very reason that she has not been allowed entry. If you 3 would let her come in, she would have been allowed in 5 minutes ago, the gate guard fired back. You do not have the authority to lay a hand on me, let alone force me out. I want to file a formal complaint against this man. He has disrespected me numerous times, and he needs to issue a formal apology to me, I told Michaela. I was serious about this. He had embarrassed me for the last time. Oh, did the Alpha get his little feelings hurt because I forced him back out of our pack? I am sure that was it, as I have been respectful to your inherited title this whole time, he replied as he glanced down at his cell phone. How dare you speak to me like that? I yelled back at him. I was annoyed. I would love nothing more than to beat him to a pulp, but I needed to calm down. I was scaring Michaela, which would not help my case. I need to focus on getting the girls back. If it makes you feel better, Alpha Paxton. I am a ranked wolf. My father and brother are alphas. That reminds me, you need to do as my alpha instructed and move your rental car out of the way. My brother is almost here. He needs to be able to pull through the gate. Either you move it, or one of us will come out there and move it ourselves, he replied. Knowing that he was an alpha blood did make me feel better. But the dig he made about me not deserving my title still stung. Who was he to call me out? I was the heir to my pack. I deserved to be an alpha. He is just jealous because his birth order messed him up. I smirked at him and motioned for Clay to move our vehicle. We are not leaving here, we will move it back to where it was after their guest arrived. I told Clay what we were doing so he didn't move it over to the parking pad outside the gate. He moved it slightly over into the grass to allow their vehicles to pass. I was not going to allow them to get away with disrespecting us. I don't care how strong their pack was. I had a large pack, too. I wasn't afraid to go to war with them to get Kara back. Paxton, you are wasting your time. There is nothing for you here. No matter what lies you spread, they will not be leaving with you today. You need to go ahead and leave and return to your pack. I am telling you now. I know what you did, and I will make sure the council investigates your pack after they finish the wild goose chase you currently have them on, Jackson tells me as he approaches the gate. The council assistant is even more excited about being this close to Jackson, but he doesn't even notice she likes him. How can he not notice her? She is his for the taking. We can all smell her arousal at seeing him. Why wouldn't he take advantage of it? The situation would be over if he just accepted her attention for a little while. I know I would if our roles were reversed. She is not a bad-looking she-wolf. I would do anything that allowed me to win in this situation, including sleeping with Michaela myself. When we open the gate, you will not attempt entry into my pack, Paxton. Make sure your men know they need to stay where they are as well. You are completely outnumbered here, so don't make a foolish mistake. Let the assistant in, and we will take her to speak with the girls. I am assuming that is why you are here. Jackson stated. He only broke eye contact with me to ask her the last question. She almost giggled when he focused on her. You would have to be totally ignorant not to know that she wants him badly. She needs to do her job, Jackson. She needs to round up the girls and bring them out here to the gate. It is time for us to return to our pack. I don't want to stay here an hour longer. Just give the girls back to us, and I promise you that you will never see any of us again, I told him. Sure, I bet you would like that, but I can assure you that won't be happening, Paxton. Surprisingly, all three girls have found their mates here, Jackson told me, smirking as I stumbled back in shock. That isn't possible. How could that be? No, I don't believe it. They were already bound to Clay and Rex. We had already notified them that they would be the chosen mates to my ranked wolves. You have no right to them at all. I believe that you are lying to try to keep them here away from us, I replied. They can't have all found their true mates here. How could this have happened? According to our laws, if the true mate accepts their mate, a chosen mate cannot prevent it. It is one of our most precious laws and given to us by the goddess herself. Why do you think that the moon goddess sent them here? She brought them all this way to make sure that they found their mates. It wouldn't matter who the mate was, as long as they have a true mate bond. So I am afraid that you have come all this way for nothing, Alpha Paxton, one of the older men spoke. Who are you to be spouting off over there? This doesn't involve you at all. Mind your business. I am not leaving here without them. Kara belongs to me, and her sisters belong to my men. It has already been decided. I am not listening to your lies. Is this how you plan to keep them from me? Making up the mate business? I never thought that you would be willing to make up such a lie in a desperate attempt to keep them here. It won't work. They belong to me. I can tell you now that the council won't fall for it. Your plan is not going to work. Michaela isn't stupid. She isn't going to fall for this pitiful attempt to continue to hold my pack members, prisoners, here. Give me my pack members, or prepare for war. Those are your two options, I yelled at them. I was not going to put up with anything else today. I am done with their rudeness. I am going into Blackadder when his friend arrives. I will not stand here and wait like I am a toddler in timeout. I needed them to know that I was serious about this. Kara is worth it to me. Whatever the cost, I will pay it. If they don't want to cooperate, I will do what I want and apologize for it later. They can't keep Kara away from me. We heard two SUVs pulling up to the gate. The gate was already sliding open to allow them to drive through the gate, when I shot through the small opening and started running up the drive. Paxton's POV. I ran as fast as my legs could go up the drive, but I didn't want to phase into my wolf. I don't have another set of clothes with me, so I don't want to rip them apart. I honestly thought that I would be catching them quicker than we did. I didn't know we would be encountering such difficulties. I may still be young, but my lack of recent training reminded me that I could not hold up this speed. There was a blur on both sides of me, and the next thing I knew, my legs were knocked out from under me. I tumbled head to toe twice before I rolled to a stop. The breath had been knocked out of me, and I was stunned. I hurt everywhere as I was running full tilt when they stopped me. I looked up to see the vampire standing there with another vampire who looked very similar to him. Why in the world would they allow bloodsuckers to live here for the goddess's sake? The only good vampire was a dead vampire, in my opinion. Better yet, how are they both standing out here in broad daylight as if it doesn't even bother them? They each grabbed me under an arm and dragged me back to the gate. The two SUVs had pulled in and were currently parked next to the guard's shack at the gate. A few men had exited the SUVs and walked over to speak to Jackson. I stared at them as I was dragged past them and back out the gate before being dropped on the ground like I was trash. "Miss Sharp, you may enter. I will take you to the hospital to speak with the ladies." One of the men from earlier, one of Jackson's betas, told her. As Michaela walked through the gate, she asked, is one of the women in the hospital? What happened? Was she hurt here? No, she wasn't hurt here. She was already hurt pretty badly when she arrived. One of the men you arrived here with had hurt her while she was still in the Kamaria pack. It was one of the reasons that they ran, Jackson replied to her. The assistant gave a small smile, but we could all tell that she was concerned by what he told her. I had told her that they ran over a misunderstanding. I wanted to reply, but the wind was still knocked out of me. I linked Rex and Clay to speak up. I was not going to allow Jackson to twist it back onto us. She may have been hurt, but it was because she was involved in a crime. At a bare minimum, Kara must be returned to us to pay for her crimes against Clay. Plus, one of us needed to be represented in there to reply to any false allegations that the girls might have. I knew they would say a lot about us to the council representative. One of us needed to be there for rebuttal. Thankfully, Rex recited my thoughts back to the council representative. I finally got a short breath in my lungs right before I thought I would pass out. Jackson smiled at me and said, "No, I am sorry, but none of you will be allowed into my pack. This is not a courtroom. There is no need for an argument to happen here. She is here to get the facts for the council to look at. I cannot trust any of you inside Blackadder, so I will not allow you to enter my pack. I won't allow you to hurt any of my pack members or the women who arrived here yesterday. It is my job to protect them, and I will. No matter what other crap you try to pull, Paxton," I heard Jackson state before he gave a scoff. The council member got into the SUV with the beta, and they drove off. It was silent for a few minutes, but before I could stand up from the ground, someone literally jumped over the gate. It was a 10-foot-high gate, but it wasn't a wolf. We would have to be very strong, and in our wolf form, to be able to do that. I already knew it was the vampire who was hung up on Kara that jumped over. I cannot believe how ignorant you were to return here, Clay. Did you think that I would let you off with a warning after what you did to Kara? You almost killed her. I am here to give you the punishment you deserve for hurting her, he announced to Clay. What are you talking about? I only grabbed her leg after she broke into my home. I was in the right to defend myself. She will be punished for attempting to rob me once we return to Kamaria, Clay said as he stepped back away from the vampire. I am sure that is the story you told to your alpha. I bet he doesn't know that you lied to him, either. You can't lie to me, Clay. I know exactly what you had been planning to do to Kara. I think your boss needs to know just what a disgusting he has working for him. How can he ever trust you again? You know he is obsessed with Kara. Do you think that he will allow you to escape punishment over this? Once he finds out, I am willing to bet he will deal with you when you get back home, the vampire continued. Wait, what is he talking about? Is that parasite trying to say that Clay tried to do something to Kara? No, I don't believe it, that isn't possible. He knew how much I liked her. He would never try to force himself on her. I wished I could get those words out. This leech is just trying to cause a rift between us. I know that I can trust Clay. He is my beta, for goddess's sake. I cannot catch my breath to tell the parasite that I will never believe a word he says. I have known Clay for a long time. I can't see him doing that to Kara or me. It is impossible. I could only lay there and watch what was about to happen. The vampire's nails grow out to become weapons of their own at his will. They look sharper than my wolf's claws, and I start to get concerned. I wasn't worried about what they would do earlier, but I am now. The council representative is no longer here. I can tell that they had waited for her to leave to do this. The vampire then started cutting Clay. He was moving so fast you couldn't keep up with when the injuries were happening. Rex stepped forward to intercede on Clay's behalf when a second vampire, just as large as the one dealing with Clay, jumped in front of him. He didn't lay a hand on Rex. He just held a hand out and said, "He won't kill him. He is just teaching him a lesson. Clay needs to know not to touch other people's mates again." The first vampire was still going and using both hands to make Clay suffer. Clay has been sliced open at least 100 times. He is bleeding pretty badly on his arms, chest, and back. The vampire is showing no sign of slowing down or stopping. He moves easily around Clay as he tries to punch the vampire to get him to stop. I finally got my breath back and managed to get out, "Stop. That is enough." My voice wasn't loud, but to my surprise, the vampire actually stopped and stepped back away from Clay. We watch as the vampire grins and walks over to use Clay's shirt to wipe his hands off. He then stood there like he was waiting for any of us to say something to him. Clay has to hold onto the side of the SUV to hold himself up. We are all now very aware that if he wanted to kill any of us, he could have. I can sense the anger coming off of him. It is more than outrage at Kara being hurt. He has a thing for her but doesn't need to get too attached. She will be coming home with me. I decided to inform him that he needs to face facts. Kara would never be with him. She will soon be leaving here, and I can assure him that she will never be coming back. I promise you that I will be looking into what happened when we get back home. If Clay did something wrong to Kara, I will ensure he gets punished for it. I have not been told that he had. The girls just left without saying anything to anyone. If he is responsible for them leaving the pack, I will make sure that he is properly punished for it. I can't fix what I didn't know was broken, I told him, trying to keep the peace. Oh, you knew it was broken. You just weren't aware that your friend here would be willing to cross, you too. You can keep your head buried in the ground. You don't have to punish him. That was less than what he deserved for almost killing Kara. She is alive because we knew she was coming, and we were prepared for her to go to the hospital within minutes of her arrival. I went easy on your beta. You will find out just how easy I went on him if you three decide to come here again. I won't be playing around anymore. I will make very sure that you all learn what happens when you cross me, the vampire told us with a confident smirk. We won't be coming back. Once the council representative brings the girls out, we will then leave. We will never return to Blackadder. I can assure you of that, I told him. I was telling the truth. I didn't want to go to war. My parents and Lisa would lose them if it came to that. I was just here to get to Kara. I refuse to return without her. If I can get Brenna and Luna, too, that is fine. But it was always Kara that I was after. Oh, you'll be back, Paxton. I know that for a fact because the women will not be leaving with you today. So, I already know that you will be coming back. You weren't smart enough to just let it go. You weren't smart enough to keep your chosen mate from playing you. You let her lie right to your face. You lost that bet because your chosen mate had only left Kara alone because she was scared of Brenna and Luna. Not because you made her your chosen. I would have hoped you would have learned something today, but I already know you didn't. You are only here because you lust after Kara. Don't come back. I can promise you that there is nothing for you here. We will never let them return to your goddess-forsaken pack, he told me coldly. You can't tell me what to do. You don't have any involvement in this. So you need to see your way out of it. That council representative already knows what she is here to do. She is here to bring my pack members back out here to me. She will do as she was told to do, I told them. They think they are so smart, but I won this battle. Jackson's POV. I already knew that one of my fathers was mind-linking my mother to warn her of what the council rep was allegedly going to do. Paxton is insane if he thinks I am just going to stand by and let that happen. I stepped towards the fence and started shouting out directions. I watched as Alexei and Anton effortlessly jumped back over the 10-foot gate as if it were nothing. Blaine, call council member Glenn Floyd to advise him that his assistant is here trying to carry out the illegal wishes of another alpha inside my pack. You can add that I am not going to allow her to follow his wishes. Ask him if the council has started breaking the laws that swore to protect. I plan on going to war with Kamaria if he allows this assistant to attempt to take any of the women I am protecting. Tell him that I expect him here within the hour to explain to me why he would allow her to do that. I want her job if that is indeed what she is here to do, I called out. On it, Blaine said as he pulled out his cell phone and stepped away to make the call. Robert, link your mother. She is with Kara. Tell her to start recording right now before the rep gets to Kara's hospital room. I will need it as proof, I linked him. I also linked Justin to relay the same message for Mom to do as well. No such thing as too much proof. I stepped up to the gate. You have either lost your mind, Paxton, or you have never been told no in your entire life. Well, I am sorry for you, but today is the day. You won't be taking any of them with you when you leave. They are nothing to you now, as they are no longer members of your pack. You have no legal recourse here. You need to accept the loss of these women and move on. You have your chosen mate, so be happy with her. That is who you decided you wanted, so why are you not happy? Your men wanted them as chosen mates, but it is too late now. They have found their mates. So let your ranked member pick some other lucky she-wolves in your pack to be their chosen. The women here are no longer your concern. You need to listen to what Alexei just told you. If you return here again, I will take it as an act of war, I told him. I was completely serious, and the air around us grew heavy. I was not making an idle threat. I was absolutely serious right now. I looked over at Blaine, who was on the phone with the council member, and he nodded to let me know that my statement had been heard loud and clear. I know that they will get here quickly at even the suggestion of war. I watched Paxton get up from the ground with help from his Gamma, Rex. The beta was still bleeding, but the blood flow was slowing with each passing moment as his wolf healed him. I would suggest you command your beta to tell you the truth. He takes after you with all the lies. I will allow you three to leave now and return to your pack. The council rep can ride back with her boss after he comes to speak to me. I am sure he will have plenty to talk to her about on their way back, I told them. I had one of the guards at the gate throw me a clean t-shirt to toss to Beta Clay. I already told you, Jackson. I am not leaving here without them. Why are you dragging this out? It serves no purpose, and the law is on my side. They will be giving the women back to me, no matter what you say. You have lost. Just return them to me, and I will leave here. We will never return to Blackadder again once you hand them over. I am only here to help out my pack members who are just upset and overwhelmed by the loss of their parents. Everything has changed for them, as they lost their home and their ranking in the pack at the same time. They understandably wanted to run. The lady is an employee of the council. Refusal to comply with her order will get you into trouble with the council. You need to think about your pack here, not just allow your lust to take over. Is that how you run things here? Paxton fired back at me. It seems you are confusing the Blackadder pack with your own. I have already heard a great deal about how you run things there. I can assure you that you will be making a great deal of changes soon, whether you want to or not. If I do nothing else, I will make sure that your pack members can tell the world what actually happens in your jacked-up pack, I told him with a smile. I saw the fear cross his face before his smirk returned. How can you be sure that what you have been told is true? The girls have been known to embellish. You need proof before you can do anything. We haven't broken any laws, so you will have difficulty in trying to prove it. Just hand the women over, and we will leave. It is as easy as that. Are you sure that you are willing to risk your pack members' lives over 3 rogues? I don't think that is in your pack's best interest. You need to think about all of the potential consequences that will come from you deliberately crossing me. I am trying to keep you from making a hasty mistake, Paxton retorted. Paxton, I told you last night to feel free to call the council, but I warned you not to return to my pack. I'm afraid that you were the one who made the mistake. You conned and lied to the council representative. You got them here with a narrative you 3 made up to try to force 3 innocent women to accept you and your advances. I will protect them all from your salacious intentions, as I know far more than you think I do. I can promise you that neither you nor your men will be allowed entry into my pack. You can either leave and head back home or wait in your vehicle. But I assure you that when you leave here today, it will only be you and your men. The women will be staying here. Robert, if they attempt to enter the pack again, use the tranquilizer darts on them and then take them to the cells, I stated before heading towards my SUV. It would be my pleasure, Jackson, Robert replied as he smiled at Paxton. They knew he would do it, even though Paxton was an alpha, they did not get along. Robert said, "Hey brother, I will catch up with you and the guys as soon as Alpha and his men leave. Follow me to the hospital," I called out to my brother and Kevin. Kevin needs to meet and mark his mate before the council goes too far. My fathers, Anton and Alexei, all got back into my SUV, and we headed straight to the hospital. They all wanted to be there to protect their mates. The council representative may think she has more authority than she does, and we need to get there before she goes too far. She is clearly inexperienced and entitled. I believe that she is about to make a huge mistake here today. But I refuse to let her go along with Paxton's request. The girls have found their true mates, which overrides everything else. Kevin, Liam, and Dexter all nodded and got back into the SUVs. I will not let that woman come in here and try to bully the girls into returning to Kamaria. She thinks she is doing what is right after hearing Paxton's lies. I hope to get there before she upsets my mate and her sisters too badly. If she goes too far, I will make sure she loses her job with the council. I was focused on returning to the hospital and didn't realize I was driving too fast. Son, slow down. Your mother, Sasha, and Cheryl have this under control. Do you honestly think this representative will force your mother, the former Luna, to hand them over? That is not going to happen. Calm down. We will deal with this quickly. I am sure that the council member will be here soon. I promise you that we will not allow any of the girls to be taken away. I need more information on what happened. The more I know, the more I can help you deal with the council when they arrive, my father, Brandon, advised. We can step away to talk after we get to the hospital, I replied, slowing down a little as he had asked. I was going too fast inside the pack. Someone could have gotten hurt, but I felt compelled to return to my mate. I would not calm down until I could see that she was safe. We pulled up to the hospital and excited the vehicles. I motioned for Kevin to follow me. He has been patient and didn't interject with the issue we were having at the gate. I am sure that might change once he realizes that one of the women Paxton demands to return is his own mate. Once we got closer to the VIP room, Kevin moved ahead of me, drawn in by the scent of his mate. I was really happy for him, knowing how happy I was to have found my own mate. He entered the room quickly, and we all heard the argument that was going on inside the room. We ran the rest of the way despite my mother not needing the help. She was standing between the hospital bed and the representative, blocking her from getting to our mates. My sister Sasha was standing to the left of my mother. The look on Sasha's face let the rep know that even if she managed to get around Mom, she wouldn't be getting around her. Kevin had run around them both to get to Luna. She was standing there with a surprised look on her face as Kevin hugged her to his chest. Now that we are here, he needs private time to get to know his mate. Kevin, you and Luna should step out of here to go somewhere more private to speak to each other. I am so happy for you both. Congratulations, I told him as he escorted Luna to the door. No. She can't leave this room. I need to speak with her and her sisters. They belong to the Kamaria pack, and I am here to make sure they are returned to their pack, the council representative stated before stepping over to block the door. Brenna's POV Jackson had just left and I already missed him. I knew why he brought me here. He wanted me to feel more secure staying with my sisters. But I honestly would have liked to have gone to the gate and told those three assholes what I really thought of them now that I was safe. I was very happy to see how well Kara looked this morning. She actually seemed happy, and I haven't seen her so happy in over the last 5 years. Not since after she turned 18 and didn't phase. She was so disappointed that Dad wrote her off. She wasn't valuable to him anymore since she wasn't a wolf. He cast her aside because she was not what he wanted her to be. Dad broke her heart with his rejection of her. It hurt me and Luna to see it happening to her. I love Kara, and I am glad she has had a chance to find love. I was wondering if the handsome vampire had anything to do with the smile on her face. I could tell that he was serious about caring for my sister. I saw him coming straight towards her after we first arrived. I had been terrified when I saw him coming, as I knew he was a vampire. He was moving so fast when he was heading towards us that I thought he might be coming to kill one of us. We have never heard any good stories about vampires. They were always mentioned as soulless and vicious beings. But I could tell that he fell in love with Kara the moment he laid eyes on her. What's not to love about her? I swear that Kara is the best of the three of us. I am glad he is ready to claim her, but I am a little worried about him being a vampire. I don't know much about them, which concerns me. Will she have to become a vampire like he is? Will he reject her when he discovers that she may not even be a witch? We have never been able to sense any power in Kara. I am sure that I will warm up to him. Jackson trusts him, so I know that I will, too, eventually. I want to make sure that he is not just infatuated with Kara. I want her to have a life worth living. I want her to find love and to be loved. I was glad when Cheryl introduced her children to us, and we enjoyed holding her children and spending time with them. Her children were so cute. Kara asked Cheryl to tell us about how she ended up here in Blackadder and how she ended up with Anton. Kara ate her breakfast while Cheryl spoke. I was happy when I understood that my sister could have her own love story. I think that she may have found her mate, too, now that I heard the story. I knew Alexei had said she was his mate, but I didn't honestly think that vampires had them. I thought he had said it to keep Luna and me off his back about claiming our sister. But hearing Cheryl's story helped me to realize that Kara had just as good a chance to have her own special mate and children as we did. I knew she wanted them, even if she hadn't mentioned it to us before. In our previous pack, she was shunned. Lisa made sure of that. Even if the unmated males in our old pack were interested in her, they still kept their distance. Between Dad and Paxton, they had to, or they would be punished. If Dad caught them checking Kara out, he would make them do extra laps and extra sparring. That sparring included him beating them up under the guise of training. I don't know how Dad couldn't see where he was being unfair about it. Kara looked like her mother, and Dad had fallen in love with Sayers, Saoirse, himself. How could he punish so many of the unmated males for being interested in her? No matter if they were a wolf or witch, my sisters were gorgeous. I could see Kara's eyes were now trained on the young vampires. I could tell that we were on the same page as we all wanted to have babies with our mates. I was in the middle of daydreaming about what mine and Jackson's child might look like when a knock sounded on the door. Cheryl got up and went over to see who it was. I was fine with her checking who it was, as I stood up to stand between the door and Kara. It is still my job to look after her until Alexei takes it over from me. Luna walked over and stood beside me as we presented a united front in order to protect our sister. We both relaxed when Cheryl opened the door for two she-wolves. It was clear that she had recognized them. They were both beautiful ladies. You could tell at a glance that it was a mother and daughter pair, but you had to look hard to see it. They could have almost passed for sisters. I watched as the mother looked at my sister Kara lying in the bed before her eyes over to me and then Luna before coming back to me. She had a huge smile on her face and stepped forward towards me. My name is Raven, I am the former Luna here and Jackson's mother. You must be Jackson's mate, she said with a smile. I wondered how she knew I was Jackson's mate and realized that when I showered with him this morning, I probably still had his scent on me. Raven walked over and hugged me to welcome me to the pack. I appreciated her doing that. Most Lunas wouldn't. I was very worried about being shunned and forced to leave here despite what Jackson had said. Her warm welcome had me relaxing. I hope Luna's mate is also kind and has a good family. I am. My name is Brenna. These are my sisters, Luna and Kara, I replied with a smile of my own. Sasha, the she-wolf next to her mother stated with a wave. Sasha also had black hair, but she had blue eyes instead of her mother's green eyes. The same green eyes and black hair that Jackson had. Sasha seemed like she was our age and pretty easygoing. I already knew I was going to love them both. Sasha also had her black hair pulled up in a high ponytail, and her mother had a low ponytail. Neither of them had makeup on. I felt like I fit right in with them already. The door opened, and a few more chairs were brought into the room so we could all sit and talk. Cheryl's youngest child headed right for Raven as soon as she sat down. Clearly, this former Luna didn't attempt to put on airs of being important. It was clear that what you see is what you get with her. She seemed honest and forthright, and I was very happy to meet her. Knowing that she and Sasha liked me made being Jackson's mate much easier. A few minutes later, we heard another knock on the door. This time, Sasha went to answer it, and Cheryl and Raven had both started recording, with Raven having put her camera facing the doorway and standing up on the windowsill. You couldn't see the screen, and the people outside wouldn't know that she was recording. I nodded my head at Cheryl holding her cell phone in their hands so that Kara and Luna both know that they were recording. That let us know that something was about to go down, and I appreciated the heads up. I dragged my chair to sit on one side of Kara, and Luna did the same on the other side of the bed. Raven and Cheryl both nodded that they were ready to go before Sasha opened the door. A she-wolf walked into the room with an air of confidence about her. She seemed to believe that she was important and had an ego before she even spoke a word. A very large guy followed in after her. He was well-muscled and had brown hair and the same blue eyes as Sasha did. "Hey, Mom!" "Hey, Sasha," he said as he shut the door. "Hey, Chase!" "What's up?" his mother replied asked as she looked at the she-wolf who came in with him. Sasha just nodded at him in acknowledgement of his greeting. "This is Michaela Sharp. She is a representative of the council who came here to hear why our guests ended up here. So go ahead and ask your questions. I would suggest hurrying. They called the council to get them en route here. We want to make sure that you do your job without allowing the information you got on the way here from Paxton to influence you in any way," Chase told her. "How dare you imply that I will not be professional," she responded. "When you assumed that our guest was in the hospital due to something that we did instead of something that happened at Paxton's pack. That shows preferential treatment. You need to let go of everything he told you and just ask what you need to, without any preconceived ideas he gave you," Chase replied. "You are being rude, and I will include that in my report. I will be telling your alpha about the disrespect that you are giving me," she said as she wrote something down in her binder. "My brother will be here soon. You can tell him then," he told her with a smirk. "The alpha is your brother?" she asked with a lot less venom in her voice. "Yes, he is. I was told to bring you here and ask them questions, but you won't be forcing them to do anything that they don't want to do. We will wait for the actual council members to arrive to make any decisions. You would be incorrect if you thought you came here just to round them up and take them to the gate to turn them over to Paxton. I will not allow you to do that. The last I heard, Jackson was the one who would decide if they left here, and he said that all three of them would be staying here for the time being, Chase told her. He looked at us over her head and gave us a wink. That definitely helped. He stood in front of the door, and I could tell that he wasn't going to let her hurt any of us. He just told her that we would not be forced to go back. I was able to relax a little and wait for the first question. Now, which one of you hurt this woman lying in the bed? She asked. Kara's POV. I scoffed at her first question. I can already tell that Paxton had passed his version of events on to her, and she believed him for whatever reason. I was glad that Jackson and his family were on our side. I wanted Alexei to come back. I missed him. He made me feel calm and safe. This woman is making me upset. She just heard Chase say she wouldn't be allowed to pack us up and ship us back there. Yet she didn't listen to what he said. I highly doubt that she will be willing to listen to anything we say either. She was going to try to do what she wanted. I wondered how he got to her. Did he pay her off or offer to sleep with her? Those were his most used options. First off, my name is Kara Sims. No one here in this pack hurt me. I was hurt attempting to leave the Kamaria pack. I would also like to make a formal complaint against them. My injury almost killed me, and I want that noted. I will not be going back there. Besides, I am not even a wolf. Can you not sense that? I am a hybrid, but I never got my wolf. I am only a witch, and the council has no authority over me. They hated me in my former pack. I refuse to go back there to be bullied and abused by them anymore. I won't do it, and since I am not a werewolf, you can't force me to, I told her. I am just trying to get information, Kara. I wasn't trying to offend you, she snapped back. Yes, you were, Michaela. You were talking down to me like I was stupid. I know that you were already taking Paxton's word as truth before you even got here. The problem is both he and his men did not tell you the truth. Do you know why he wants to force me to go back? He wants me to give birth to his pups. He wants to use me and force me to bear his children. I don't want to do that at all. If I never see Paxton again, I would be fine with it. He knows that I will do nothing but suffer if I go back. I will suffer at the hands of his chosen mate, Lisa. She already hates me, and she will not stop until I am dead. So stop pretending that you are here for us. You aren't. You are here for him. I don't know how he got to you. Aren't the people who work for the council members supposed to be impartial? I asked. I watched her flush with embarrassment before she fired back. I am impartial. I need to have you three answer some questions. I haven't forced any of you to do anything. It seems suspicious that you arrived here and were immediately taken to surgery, Michael fired back. I could not stand up when I arrived, so I was taken to the pack hospital. I am done answering questions now. I will have you speak to my doctor. Can anyone mind link him for me, please? I don't want to speak to her anymore. She is not listening to my answers anyway. She needs to learn to listen first to hear what happened and what I had to deal with, I asked. We all waited for Dr. Hill to show up. He explained what had happened to Michael. He also gave a timeline of when it happened and how serious the injury actually was. She listened and took notes before saying, "Was anyone else there when this alleged incident happened?" She clearly didn't believe me, but I couldn't care less. I wasn't going to tell her anything else. I heard Chase say that actual council members were heading this way. I would wait and speak to them. I was worried that anything we said would be relayed back to Paxton. I didn't trust this she-wolf at all. "And you are?" Michaela asked as she looked at Brenna. "Kara's sister, Brenna," Brenna replied. "Do you know when your sister was hurt?" Michaela asked her in a sarcastic tone. "Yes, I was there when it happened," Brenna replied in the same tone. "Can you tell me what happened?" Michaela responded with an eye roll. How is she working for the council with an attitude like that? She only asked if Brenna knew when I got hurt. She hadn't asked what happened yet. This woman has an agenda, but we will not be playing along with her. I felt Brenna squeeze my hand, and I relaxed. Brenna will deal with her. I laid back on my bed and shut my eyes. I willed myself to calm down, despite how annoying that Michaela woman's voice is to me. Kara had gone into our home to get the paperwork and cash that our parents left for us. Our father was the former beta for the Kamaria pack. Our parents were suddenly killed in an accident, and we were kicked out of our home with no time to get all of our belongings. The replacement beta arrived at the pack 12 hours after we were notified of our parents' deaths. We were getting what belonged to us, that our parents left for us before we left the pack, Brenna replied. That is not what I was told. I was told that Kara had broken into the beta's home to steal his belongings. So you are alleging that your father was the beta before Clayton was assigned the post? That none of you took anything that belonged to Beta Clayton? Michaela asked. It is a matter of record that our father was the beta there, not an allegation. Did you even take the time to check out who we were? It would be a small matter to look into the submitted list for the Kamaria pack. Let me guess, you literally jumped at the chance to come here. So you probably have a crush on Paxton of Jackson. I will guess Jackson, as Paxton lives in Northern California, not anywhere around here. If you will not listen or look into what we have told you, why do we need to answer your questions? You seem to have solved the case with the lies that Paxton told you. I think it would be best to wait until the actual council members arrive. I don't like to repeat myself or be accused of lying by someone who didn't care enough actually to look into our background before your investigation. Especially something so easy to find out. I think we are at a stalemate now, Brenna stated. I'm sorry, but you don't get to decide that. I'm afraid that you don't have a choice here. I am here to investigate, and you will answer my questions. Now, I was told that you ran from your last pack. I am here to determine if the reason you ran away was a valid one. Your Alpha and his ranked members are here to take you three back home. They are all concerned for your well-being. Your Alpha cares about you all very much, he even cried with how worried he is about you three. It seems as if you are all being deliberately obtuse in this. I am sure you understand why I am here. I am a representative from the Werewolf Council. Please show me my due respect, Michaela replied. I agree with Brenna. We can wait to do this so they don't have to repeat themselves. Based on how Jackson spoke, I am sure the council members will arrive very soon. You are not listening to them at all. You didn't listen to Jackson when he told you at the gate that she was not injured here. You already have a narrative that you have already chosen to believe. You are not investigating anything. You are here to force these women to return to a pack they ran away from. Why wasn't your first question asking them why they left their old pack? Or even asking what happened to them there? I can clearly see they do not want to return to Kamaria. It is my understanding that this is all a moot point. They are not going back. You need to go grab a coffee or something and calm down. This is not a trial, and you are not in charge here, Chase told her. Due respect? To you? Why? You have been nothing but disrespectful to me and my sisters since you entered the room. You didn't give me any respect, so don't hold your breath waiting for me to give you any. You look at us and see 3 rogue she-wolves, and you were wrong then, too. You assumed Kara was a wolf because that is what Paxton told you. He told you that so you would lump us all together and hand us over. But did you ever ask yourself why he wants us back so badly? I know the answer, but I will not give it to you. You didn't come here looking to help us. You just wanted to help Paxton. Better yet, you wanted to get close to Jackson, and this was the perfect way. It allowed you to enter his pack and speak to him. Oh, sorry, did I touch a nerve there? Are you getting angry at me now? Brenna told her. How dare you speak to me that way? I am a member of the council. I am in charge here at the moment. I will take you 3 down to the gate if I want to. Who is going to stop me? Those men out there are claiming you and your sister as their chosen mates. Paxton wants Kara to be safe and with her sisters. He doesn't want to separate your family, Michaela fired back, but her face was red and angry. Well, you are about to be really disappointed. 2 of us have already found our mates here. My sister Luna has 1, 2, and he is headed here now. So you can ask questions until you are blue in the face, but none of us will answer any more of them until the actual council members arrive. I know for a fact that you can't force mated women to accept a chosen mate. You work at the council. You should already know that law, Brenna told her. I smiled at how bold she was being. This was my sister, and I was glad that she didn't have to hold back who she was anymore. You disgusting whore. You were just with Rex, and now you've found someone new? How can you be that low? He loves you so much. Yet you betrayed him, Michaela snapped out and stepped forward to go after Brenna. Raven and Sasha moved very quickly to stand between Michaela and Brenna. You need to think before you attempt to put your hands on Brenna. We won't allow it, Raven told her. Gone was the kind and sweet women from before. In her place stood a warrior with no qualms about hurting Michaela if she insisted on coming after Brenna. Sasha wore the same expression. The door slammed open, and a man rushed into the room. Searching around the room until his eyes locked with my sister, Luna. Jackson's POV. No sooner than I told Kevin to escort Luna to a quieter place, the council representative started trying to throw her weight around. She honestly thought that we would all have to comply with her. I looked at Brenna, and I could feel her emotions. She was annoyed, and I knew it was all because of this woman. One who thought she had a title instead of being just a pencil pusher there at the council. I blocked her to let Kevin and Luna slip out of the room together. I am the alpha here, she cannot override me, or my decisions. This woman has insulted both Kara and Brenna and refused to listen to either of them. Brenna told her that we were done until the council sent actual council members here. Michaela, here, had already made up her mind about the fact that the girls needed to be returned to Paxton. She has an inflated ego, and she should be removed from the council. I will tell them that when they arrive, my mother told me. These women do not belong to your pack. They belong to the Kamaria pack, and the men at the gate are concerned for their well-being. They need to be returned, Michaela spit out. Clearly mad at my mother's statement. Michaela is young and doesn't know the mistake she just made. Mom is not going to allow her to hurt Brenna, or me. You don't get to make that call. You do not have authority over me or my pack. Chase, please escort Michaela back to the gate so she can wait outside with Paxton and his men. She would probably feel more comfortable being with her friends anyway. Stay there until the council members arrive and escort them back to the hospital. Do not allow Michaela to come back in with them. We can start here in the hospital so Kara can speak to them. When she gets tired, we can go somewhere else to talk and allow her to rest, I told him. I am an employee of the council. You can't kick me out of here. I need to speak to you, too, Jackson. We can go to your office if you would like, or we can do it here, Michaela offered with a smile. Her instant change in demeanor didn't escape anyone's notice. She was flirty and suggestive in her tone now. I have nothing at all to say to you. You seem to have an overinflated ego about working for the council. Is this usually how you operate? Believing whatever the first person who spoke told you? I have known Paxton for less than 24 hours, and I already know that he is an excellent liar. His ability to twist things around for his own benefit is astounding. I want you to know that if you went too far before we arrived, I will ask for you to be terminated from this cushy job you have. I don't think that you are being impartial at all. From the yelling we heard, you were being highly confrontational, and I will be expressing my displeasure to your boss when he arrives, I told her. You can't kick me out. I refuse to leave here. These women are not a part of your pack. Therefore, they belong to Alpha Paxton, Michaela shrieked out. Trying to fight against Chase as he went to escort her out the door. Sasha stepped up and punched her in the face. Michaela stopped screaming to look at Sasha in disbelief. You just assaulted a member of the council. You are going to be dealt with harshly, Michaela told her. You are not a member. You work for a member. I doubt you will be working for him too much longer, so I took the opportunity to shut you up. This is a hospital, how dare you cause such a scene just for being asked to leave? You have no further business here. Your boss does. So shut up and get out. I don't mind helping my brother escort you back to the gate if you can't stay quiet. You know what? I will go with you to the gate. I am positive that you will kick up another fit upon being asked to leave our pack. Pick her up, Chase. Let's go, Sasha told him, covering her mouth to keep from laughing at the sight before her. Mind your head, Sasha told her as Chase went to exit the room. She smiled at us before leaving the room after him. Are you okay? I asked as I stepped up to Brenna. She stood up and nodded at me. I hugged her to my chest, letting her scent calm me down. Between Paxton and Michaela, I was royally annoyed off. I kissed the top of her head and then turned to introduce her to my parents. They were all three smiling back at us when I turned. They watched our interaction, and they were happy that I had found my mate. I like her. She stood up for herself and her sisters. She will be an excellent Luna for you, Jackson, my mother told me. I noticed Alexei sitting on the side of the bed and Kara murmuring a question to him about the blood still on his hands. He got up to wash them in the bathroom attached to her room. When he returned, she asked, "How did you get hurt, Alexei?" Alexei hesitated before saying, "I needed Clay to pay for what he had done to you. He knows to never put his hands on you again." Carol leaned over and kissed his cheek, and I was glad to see that she could feel the connection between them strengthening. She was more relaxed now that he was here, and I am very happy for them both. They needed each other. I look forward to seeing how Kevin and Luna fared, as I ensured they could slip out despite Michaela forbidding them to leave the room. Cheryl stood up, and Anton took her seat, now letting her sit on his lap. We could see how happy they were for Alexei and Kara. I could see Cheryl almost bouncing in her excitement at knowing Luna was mated to Kevin. We didn't have to wait long. Kevin and Luna walked back into the room and bore each other's mark. It was set in stone now. None of these women could be forced to leave my pack. I will not be telling them that Luna would live in another pack. I will mention that all three have found their mates. No need to get too specific. The council members will know who he is, but I will ask that they keep it to themselves to keep Luna safe. Eventually, Paxton will have to give up on wanting Kara to be returned to Kamaria. The council has no power over her. The fact that Kara is a witch will prevent them from being able to force her to leave. It is at my discretion who I allow to live in my pack. She would technically be living in the coven next door to my pack. I will be holding the Luna ceremony as soon as possible in the next full moon. I need to check and see if the next one will have 2 nights of the full moon so that we can be at Kevin and Luna's ceremony, and they can be at ours. The bond between the girls is a strong one. I know that they will want to be there to support their sisters at each ceremony. Well, Sasha was right. Michaela refused to leave, and the men were scared to touch her. Sasha had to deal with her again, my mother mentioned. I wish I could have seen that, I muttered. You can. You know we have cameras at the gate. Robert filmed it as Michaela was causing a scene. He wanted Sasha to be protected as Michaela is going to try to cause a problem. He then sent it to Cheryl and me to watch. I have never seen anyone from the council with such an inflated sense of entitlement as she has, my mother said as she started the video again to show my father's. Cheryl and Anton were also laughing, but I was content to hold Brenna in my lap until the council arrived. Kevin sat in Luna's chair, holding her tight. It was like he couldn't get close enough to her, and she felt the same way. I shifted to let Brenna lay against my chest. I closed my eyes and waited for the mind link to come that announced that the council had arrived. About 10 minutes later, I got a call from Chase on my cell phone. I already knew why he didn't mind link. I knew they would need to hear my voice, as Michaela insisted on being allowed into my pack. Jax, Council members Glenn Floyd and Gary Sharp are here to speak to you. They insist on allowing Michaela back in to discuss what happened, Chase said. Now that is interesting. Her father is a council member. He must be a new one. I changed my mind at that moment. Let all three of them and their security in. Make sure that however many members of security they have with them, we have 2 men to their 1. I will not allow an issue to occur in my pack, I replied to Chase. I knew they could hear me. I wanted them to know that I would not allow anything to happen inside my pack. I also wanted them to know just how serious I was. Michaela had come in here like she owned the place, and I would not let her get away with it. Wait a minute, we are here at your request. You called us. There is no need for you to do that, one of the men stated. I am sure it was her father, but we would learn which one soon enough. I mind-linked Robert. I am going to make it 3-1 now. I am not going to allow something to happen in my pack. I knew I couldn't trust Michaela. I am also fairly sure that I could not trust her father either. Jackson's POV before they get here, does anyone want to leave? I asked. I knew it would be tight in here, plus I didn't want to expose the children to the argument I knew was about to happen. There is no way that I am leaving Kara in here with that woman without me, Alexei stated. I'm not leaving. I know the laws as well as you do. We are not going to allow them to try to bulldoze us. That she-wolf has an agenda. What she did earlier is quite disappointing. Paxton is not even a part of our division. His council is somewhere else, much further north than we are. I do not know how he already had her under his thumb. Something very suspicious is happening, Kevin replied. Yes, it is very concerning that she was willing to lose her job for a stranger, I agreed. We will be staying. I know these old foxes. I know Glenn and have worked with him before. I will be staying to provide support, my father, Brandon, replied. I am not leaving. Brenna is my daughter-in-law, and I will not allow her to be bullied. I have heard of Michaela's father before, he is fairly new to the council. He bought his way onto the council, so it was not good rumors I heard about him. It might be harder to get her fired, but it will not be impossible, my mother announced to the room. Anton said, I will take the children and head back home. Cheryl will stay. She has a video. Not to mention that she was a witness to what happened earlier. Anton stood up and kissed Cheryl before picking up the 2 youngest in his arms and calling for the twins to follow him. They had to hug everyone before they left. Seeing them made me excited for the possibility of having children with Brenna. I could see her watching the children as they told us all goodbye. I could tell that she liked them already. I was happy to see that she loved children. We haven't really had a conversation yet, we kind of got caught up in marking and mating. I didn't want to take a chance of losing her. The room was quiet for a short time before I heard a knock on the door. Chase entered, followed by the 2 council members and Michaela. Sasha was right behind her with a small smile on her face. Jackson, what is this? I heard about you kicking my daughter out of your pack. She is a member of the council. A sworn representative for us. You have no right to do that, her father, Gary Sharp, announced the moment he entered the room. I saw the smile on Michaela's face. This is going to be fun. No, she is not a member of the council. You are, but this is my pack. She came here with her own agenda, and it was not unbiased. I am making a formal request for her to be dismissed from her position as representative, I replied. On what grounds? She was trying to determine information. She was not acting on anything. She was just here to gather some information so we could make our decision, Councilman Floyd replied. He looked confused about what I had said, but I would not back down. That is incorrect. She threatened the young women that we are currently protecting. She told them that she would take them to the gate and allow Paxton and his men to take them back to the Kamaria pack, I replied. That is a lie. I never said that. Plus, you were not even here. How can you lie like that about me? I am innocent. I never threatened any of them, Michaela said before working up tears to help her cause. Of course, her father and council member Floyd both fell for it instantly. You have gone too far with making up that type of allegation. I am not going to let this go. You will have to answer for speaking as if my daughter was anything but professional, her father roared at me. Jackson, that is a serious allegation. Do you have any proof? Council member Glenn Floyd was calmer in his response. I do. We have a recording that started before she entered the room and ended when she was escorted out at my request, I responded with a smile. The tears falling down her face stopped, and Michaela looked around the room ceiling to verify that there were no cameras. Satisfied that I was lying about having proof, she said, I didn't do anything wrong. I tried to ask questions, but they refused to answer them. They were all combative and unwilling to work with me. They said that they wanted to wait for real council members to be here. They disrespected me and my position because I was just a low representative. They didn't like me from the moment I arrived. Jackson refused to allow any of the men from Kamaria to enter to speak on behalf of their pack. Michaela sobbed out as if she had been terribly insulted. Her tears started again as she turned to her father and sobbed into his shoulder. This is incorrect, my mother interjected. And you are? Michaela asked as she turned from her father to glare at my mother. The former Luna of Blackadder and Jackson's mother. I am also the person who recorded you and how you rudely acted to these ladies, my mother replied. I was not rude. I asked them questions, but they refused to cooperate. They were not telling the truth and were trying to be evasive. I had to be stern with them, Michaela replied. You didn't have to be rude. You chose to be. How can you say they were lying? Is it because you had the true story from Alpha Paxton, so you weren't actually here to get the truth? I bet you think that since your father is on the council, he will be able to protect you. He can't. You will be hung out to dry once the video plays for the council. I am positive that he will not want to lose his position on the council. He will have no choice but to allow you to receive the punishment you deserve. I am positive that my knowledge of the laws governing us is much higher than your slight grasp of it, my mother replied. Seeing the first hint of fear appear in Michaela's eyes was satisfying. Her father had stiffened up midway through my mother's response. He hadn't spoken in defense of Michaela anymore. He seemed to be taking this incident much more seriously than he had been before. When he came into the room, guns were blazing in defense of his daughter. He had taken her word for everything and went all in instead of finding out what actually happened. Can you play it for us before I respond? It seems that I was given some bad information, her father finally asked. Mom nodded and then played the video for the room. I was livid when I heard her come in and accuse us of having hurt Kara. At the gate, we told her that Kara had been hurt in her former pack. I kept getting angrier as the video played. It didn't give me joy to see her flush of embarrassment or her father's lips tighten up in anger. The doctor explained everything to her, and she still vehemently argued with them about what had happened. Michaela had messed up. They knew it would go through if I were to demand her termination. She didn't listen to Kara or Brenna. I was going to make that point myself. The video ended, and I can see the council members were trying to figure out a way out of this. Didn't I tell you at the gate, before you came to the hospital, that Kara had been hurt in her old pack? That one of the men you traveled here with had been the one to hurt her. I asked Michaela. You did, but, Michaela started to reply. There is no but. I told you the facts. Yet you believed the men who had lied to you. I told you, and Kara told you, and Brenna told you. But apparently, you believed that we were all lying. You were 100% on board with a man who came here to try to force these women to accept being chosen mates and be with men they did not want to be with. Would you like that to be done to you? I asked. They are all attractive men. It's not like it is really a punishment, Michaela responded. Then you go be their chosen because we won't go back there, Kara replied. Alpha Paxton demands it. So you will be going back, Michaela replied angrily. I am politely requesting that Michaela is no longer a part of this discussion. I will still demand her removal from any part of working for the council. She is not impartial, and I feel terrible for anyone she has interviewed or helped you to make a decision for. It is clear to me that she picks a side, even before getting her facts straight. If we cannot get any unbiased council member here, I will have to ask for a trial to be conducted over this, I replied to the council members. We can start the investigation over again. This time without Michaela. We are not here to cause an incident to occur. We were told that these ladies were to be the chosen mates for the Beta and Gamma. They said they only wanted Kara to go back with them, to help keep the sisters together, Council Member Floyd stated. Chase, please take Michaela back to the gate to wait with her new friends, I asked him. He motioned for her to leave, and I didn't miss the glare she gave to Brenna as she left. I knew she was interested in me at the gate after I arrived. I just ignored it because I had no interest at all in her. I have found my mate, so I was a little more aloof this time around. She wasn't trying to hide her interest in me. I knew it would have been worse if I had let her know that I knew she had a thing for me. She can keep on dreaming because I only want Brenna. Let's get down to business, shall we? I believe that was can make this go much faster by just telling you they have all found their mates. Brenna and Luna have both been marked. Brenna is my true mate, and Luna is Kevin's true mate. Kara is not a wolf, so at this time, it is over and done. They have all been given their mates, and there is nothing that any of you can do about it, I told them. Paxton's POV. I honestly thought it would be smooth sailing after Michaela got to go into Blackadder. Her father was a council member, and I had a friend of a friend to call Michaela so she could do this favor for me. She believed each and every word we told her. She felt the guys loved Brenna and Luna and were heartbroken that the girls had run away. It made me think that we were going to get the girls back. I had told Michaela to disregard what Jackson wanted. I needed her to bring them back to us so we could get out of here. She was pitching a fit when they brought her back to the gate. I was shocked that a female was now with the beta. We watched as Michaela refused to exit the SUV. The she-wolf with the beta literally had to pull her out of the SUV, but she did it like it was nothing. The new she-wolf was a stunner. She was very fit and had black hair like Jackson but blue eyes like the beta. I knew they had a big family, so I was sure this was one of their sisters. She didn't seem to have an issue with putting her hands on Michaela despite her being a council employee. We watched with interest as Michaela tried to struggle out of the she-wolf's grip but ended up being pushed through the slight opening of the gate. Michaela managed to stay on her feet, just stumbling forward but not falling to the ground. The guys on the other side of the gate from us were having difficulty not laughing at the sight of it as the gate snapped back closed. She glared at us for a while until two SUVs arrived about 15 minutes later. She entered the first vehicle to return to the pack. I am sure that there was a heated discussion on their way to the hospital. The beta and the she-wolf who came here with him led them back to the pack hospital. We were all surprised when she was back about 20 minutes later. She was furious and wasn't trying to hide the fact that she was angry with me. Michaela was fuming and looked at me for a minute before stomping over and saying, "Did you lie to me?" I managed to keep my face straight and not show my surprise. "Why would you think that I was lying?" I asked. "Because you told me one thing, but the women all said that one of your men was the one who had hurt Kara. You three told me that Kara broke in and attempted to rob you, Clay. What items did she try to take?" "Because the women said that it was their parents' personal items that belonged to them and that they just got them from the safe when you returned." "So which was it?" It didn't seem like they were lying to me. You three acted like you cared and wanted them back. The doctor even gave a timeline based on the contaminants entering her bone and bloodstream. The evidence points to one of you hurting her. You made me look like an crazy in there? Are you happy now?" Michaela asked. "I wasn't trying to hurt her. I thought she had stolen my stuff, and all I was doing was trying to stop her from leaving so I could check her bag. That was it, and I would have done it if Brenna hadn't knocked me out," Beta Clay finally admitted. "So you all thought lying to me was a great idea? I will have to work hard to try to smooth this over. I am in real trouble because they have a video they showed my father and council member Floyd. I could lose my job. I have worked so hard to get a position there, and I believed what you told me, Paxton. Yet you clearly fed me a bunch of lies. Was anything you told me true?" Michaela yelled at me. "I did assign the women to be chosen mates for my ranked wolves. That is absolutely true. It is also true that their parents had been killed in an accident. I wanted them to have strong mates so they could protect them. I was trying to care for them by giving them to men I knew would cherish them. Their family was important to our pack. I omitted the fact that Kara is not a wolf, but I just wanted her returned so they could stay together. She is their half-sister, and I didn't want them separated. But everything else we told you was the truth. I think that they were just scared at the thought of being marked and mated and ran. There was no other reason for them to take off like they did with no notice, or reason, for it. I told Michaela that to get her to calm down. We needed her on our side. Jackson was the one who had told his beta to make me leave. One of the girls from your pack was sitting on his lap in there like she owns the place. I did this as a favor for you and because I wanted to see Jackson. See if I could be his mate, but he has ignored me since he arrived. Goddess, I have screwed up. I should have just done my job, and I wouldn't be in this mess, Michaela muttered at us. Wait a minute. Did you say that one of the women who left our pack is sitting on Jackson's lap right now? I asked her, stunned. Yeah, she is probably still sitting there. It is ridiculous to think that a demoted pack member is worthy to be with Jackson. She is not. The most unbelievable part of it is that Jackson's mother was in the room, too. I was trying to act professionally so she would see what a qualified she-wolf I am, yet she ignored me. This is all your fault for not telling me the truth, Michaela told me. She was annoyed. I feel real fear rising up inside of me. That Jackson had told me that the girls had all met their true mates. What if he wasn't lying? What if he was being absolutely serious? Another alpha had shown up today. He seemed intent on wanting Clay dead. Did they honestly find mates in there? No. No, that isn't possible. The goddess wouldn't do that to me. No way happened. I will not give Kara up for anything. Especially not to a leech. I looked over at the group standing near the beta's SUV. They were talking in low tones but laughing and acting normally. Like they weren't concerned about me and my men at all. I wondered if I asked them if the women had found their mates and if they would actually tell me the truth or not. That Robert guy caught me looking at him with a frown on my face and gave me a smirk before continuing to speak to the others. He had no respect for me at all. Goddess, I wanted to beat that up. You said one of them was sitting on Jackson's lap. Which one was it? I heard Rex ask. It was Brenna, Michaela replied. I can hear Rex groan as if in pain. Was she marked? Rex asked a short time later. I could hear the emotions he had in his voice. He was really upset. I don't know. She had a shirt on, so I didn't see a mark. I wasn't really looking for one on her, as again, she doesn't deserve him. I didn't see a mark on him either, but he also has a shirt that covers up his marking spot, too, Michaela replied. What about Luna? Clay asked. The one with brown hair? Michaela asked. Yes, that is her, Clay replied anxiously. I think she met her mate while I was there. Some guy came running into the room and looked around until he saw her. I tried to stop her from leaving, but Jackson blocked me and let them leave to go talk to each other, Michaela replied. Is she marked? Clay asked. I could tell that he was bracing for the answer. They were still gone when I was brought back out here the second time. I don't know if she is marked or not, but as excited as he was at seeing her, I would have to assume she probably is by now, Michaela replied. Rex and Clay looked as if they were crushed. I could understand why. If they both found their mates, we couldn't force them to come back. Which means Kara will not be coming back to me. How could this have happened? I wanted to scream out in fury, but I managed to hold it in. I had to know, so I asked, "What about the one in the hospital bed? The one who is not a wolf? What about her?" That vampire went straight to her once he returned from the gate. He has got it bad for her, but I didn't see her really fawning over him. But she is a witch, not a wolf, so we have no legal right to interfere with her or him. It didn't seem as if her being a witch bothered the vampire at all, Michaela replied. I wanted to punch something, and I wished the gates would open so I could run up and punch that. That would make me feel better. How could the goddess do that to us? We had gone so far to get them to be ours, only to lose them like this? It was not fair at all. I wanted Kara, not Lisa, and I am stuck with Lisa until the end of my days. I was dreaming of my children with Kara. I had been praying that our daughters would look just like their beautiful mother with her large blue eyes, which reminded me of a crystal blue lake. I have gotten lost in the depths of her eyes so many times. Everything is all shot to hell. I will never be able to get Kara back. My only hope was to force her sisters to return. I knew she would end up following them despite not wanting to be my surrogate to carry my pups. I could hear vehicles pulling up, but I was frozen in place. My heart is broken. I looked up to see Michaela entering the first SUV to leave with the council members. I ran up and told her, "Please, help me get my pack members back." She stared at me like I had grown another head as I prevented her door from closing on the SUV. I can only pray for a miracle because it seems as if I have lost Kara forever. These she-wolves have found their true mates. I suggest you return to your pack and allow your ranked wolves to take other she-wolves as their chosen. Your former pack members are no longer available at this time, one of the council members gruffly told me. He yanked the door I was holding shut and the SUVs drove off. I couldn't hold it back anymore. I screamed out in sheer frustration. I have never been so insulted and disrespected in all my life. I didn't know what to do next, but I knew that I would never give up trying to get Kara back to the Kamaria pack. Kevin's POV: my mate is beautiful, and she is perfect for me. I can feel the power radiating off of her. She has alpha blood in her, just like her sister Brenna. They are both going to make excellent Lunas. I smiled at the fact that her parents named her Luna. It was almost as if they knew she would be one herself one day. Her scent of cherry blossoms and rain was lovely. The cherry blossom is subtle, with hints of lilac, rose, and magnolia. That scent, mixed with a fresh rain, makes her smell clean but with a slight floral scent mixed with it. Her cloudy grey eyes already captivate me. They look like the sky right before a storm, and I am quite taken by them. She had both dark and light grey flecks in them. I have never seen a she-wolf that looked like her. I loved her the moment I looked into her eyes. I almost lost my cool. I do not hit women, but for a moment, I considered it. She was loud and abrasive as she disrespected Luna's sisters. I have an issue with how she was conducting her alleged interview. I wanted to head out to the gate and give Jackson a hand with those men now. I was up to speed with what had happened as I listened to their discussion. One of those men had wanted my maid enough to want to force her to be his and try to mark her against her will. She and her sisters were so brave to have run like they did. I was proud of all of them for successfully being able to escape. Once they knew that each one of the girls had found their true mates, any claim that Alpha Paxton had on them was gone. Kara was a witch, and the Werewolf Council had no jurisdiction over her. Jackson made it clear that he would provide shelter for her. From the looks of things, Alexei was already in love with her. I don't know how things work for their kind, but I am happy for them both. Alexei has waited several lifetimes without finding love, and I cannot imagine how lonely that had to have been for him. I would like to go with you, Jackson, when the council members leave. I have something to say to Paxton and his men, I announced to the now silent room. Alpha Roberts, we are trying to mediate a peaceful solution to this incident. We have acknowledged that Alpha Paxton has no claim over any of the women. We are going to tell him and his men to leave here. It seems as if all three women have found their significant others while here in Blackadder. I think that it would be best for us to handle the conversation at the gate, Council Member Sharp advised. I bet you do. But I told him to leave and not return. Yet he still comes back to my doorstep. I have warned him, but you can go ahead and do it yourself. I have already told him that if he returns here to try to take any of them, I will consider it a declaration of war between our packs. I am fine with you attempting to get him and his men to leave peacefully, but we both know they will not give up so easily, Jackson stated. I agree with Council Member Sharp. I think that you and Alpha Roberts are too close to the current issue. Either of you going to the gate will prevent calmer heads from prevailing. I would also like to point out that they think all three girls would be staying here, in Blackadder. We don't want any of them to recognize Alpha Kevin Roberts and attempt to grab Luna from the Black Moon Pack, Council Member Floyd stated. Okay, we will play this your way. Just know if and when they return, I will take it as a threat against my Luna and my pack. I will not hesitate to deal with him at that time, Jackson replied. I agree with Jackson. The same applies for Black Moon. After finally finding her, I will not allow them to attempt to take my Luna from me. I will throw in with Blackadder in a war with the Kamaria pack. I don't have to remind you that if we declare war on Kamaria, my cousin Trevor's pack, Blood Tracker, will also be involved in the war, I replied to the council members. They needed to know just how serious this was about to be. I can also confirm that my family's pack, the Blood Walker pack, we will also be included in the war. My nephew, Lucas Walker, will be glad to help his cousin with a helping hand. I will call my brother, Carter, and send him the video of what happened here earlier today. So please ensure that you get the message across to them when you speak to them at the gate. Make sure that they are fully aware of just how serious we are about protecting these young women. They belong to us now, and we will protect them from anyone who would try to take them or cause them harm, Raven announced to the silent room. She didn't pull any punches, and it was a clear threat. But she was right. They would never back down unless they knew just how serious this was to us. Both council members looked shocked at what she had said. I am quite sure that they didn't want that video to get out for others to see. Michaela abusing her power like this could cause major issues for the council. Especially if she had been doing this the whole time she worked for them. I doubt this was the first time for her because she entered the room with a great deal of attitude. I saw the video and heard how aggressively she spoke to Luna, Brenna, and Kara. It could cause a great deal of problems for the council if word got out about how Michaela operated. I assure you that we will make sure that they understand that returning here, or at Black Moon, will constitute a declaration of war. I still think that it will be better for Council members Sharp and me to deal with them. Their claim on the women is void at this point. The women have found their mates, and they will not be returned to the Kamaria pack. I will personally look into the incident with the accident that claimed their parents, as it does sound very suspicious. That, added to what the girls have told us, completes our investigation here. I will bring the parents' vehicle back to the Werewolf Council to look for proof of tampering. If we find evidence of it, we will deal with the issue with Alpha Paxton and his ranked wolves. If true, it is a highly disturbing and violent act against his former beta and a bold violation of our laws. I have already texted my office. They are having the vehicle brought to us right now to be examined on a covered trailer. We will keep everything quiet until we can investigate this allegation fully, Council Member Floyd responded. I am glad that it seemed like they were at least attempting to look into the matter seriously. We all knew that what the girls had said had happened. We could tell that they were telling the truth. Our bond told us that they were telling the truth. Those men would not be out there causing a scene like this without wanting to be with them. They probably thought that after a month had passed, they had gotten away with it. The police had been paid off, and they didn't proceed with a further investigation. The police knew what we were. They usually only dealt with a pack when they had to. That happens a lot as accidents happen outside of packs. The council members left with no incident. Jackson got the all clear at the gate 20 minutes later. Robert let us know that all of the security gates had been put into place. The number of guards at the gate and on patrols increased for the night. I noticed a duffel bag under Kara's bed and asked, "Is that all you managed to escape with?" I felt terrible for them. I had to escape from Blood Moon myself several years ago. I remember the fear that Mom and I felt as we ran. It was impossible to rest as we had to make it here to Blackadder before we were caught. Things worked out for us, but it was a terrifying time. People got hurt that day, and one person died. I have never been so scared in my life, before or after that day. That is what we got out of the safe before we ran. We didn't take much with us. Our clothes are in the backpack, and the items from the safe are in the duffel bag, Brenna announced to the room. I will make sure to get all three of you clothes. Don't worry about that. We can't go now, but I can go into town with my daughters tomorrow and grab things for you. We just need your sizes and preferences for colors and fabrics, Raven announced. We have money. We can pay for the items if you can give us some clothes. We can make it this month with just an outfit or two and then try to shop one day next month. We don't want to be a burden, Brenna advised. None of you are a burden. It is our pleasure to do it. You are our family now. Keep your money. You can split it between yourselves, but I happen to know for a fact that your mates are going to take very good care of you. So, make a list, and we will take care of it tomorrow. We will take some warriors with us, as your friends might try to follow us, Raven replied with a smile. I agree. They will come back, and they will follow whoever leaves. Kevin, you need to stay here for the next 2 days. Go ahead and call Andrew and Gabriel and let them know what is going on and that you will be gone a little longer than you originally planned. Justin and I will go with you and the girls tomorrow. That young alpha is not going to give up. His only hope is to try to catch one of you outside the pack and try to take you back. We can wait him out. I will call his father tomorrow morning to tell him what his son has done. I know his father, Hugo, personally. He will make Paxton return home, Brandon announced to the room. I can put your money into the safe in my office to keep it safe, Jackson advised. Luna stood up to grab the duffel bag and hand it over to Jackson, but a yellowed envelope fell out of it and fluttered to the floor. After passing the duffel bag over, Luna picked it up, and we all saw Kara's name on the outside. I could tell that none of the sisters had ever seen this envelope before. Luna silently handed it over to Kara. The air in the room changed up. Before Kara even opened it, we could all tell that something serious was about to happen. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.